Hi guys, here we are. We're here to talk about Puppeteer and you're watching Connected Digital World.
Welcome to the magical theatre of the strange and fantastic.
So, thank you for joining us. Would you like to tell us about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, my name's Gavin Moore and I'm the creative director of Japan Studio and the mad mind behind Puppeteer.
So, tell us a little bit about Puppeteer.
Puppeteer is a platform action game basically that I've been building for the past 3 years or so. It's going to take you on a mad, dark fairy tale type journey through incredibly bizarre situations that Monty Python would be very happy if you came across them.
So, what gave you the original idea to create Puppeteer?
Well, originally I was playing games with my son, and we were playing a 2-player game, and he just got up and went outside to play, which was awesome because I'm his dad and I wanted to play outside. And then, but as the creative director for Japan Studio, it's not so awesome because he should be in the dark playing games, obviously. And I was talking to him, he said, I want to make a game that changes every 5 to 10 minutes. And that's quite a feat to do, but we kind of set about it and we came up with this idea of this magic theatre where instead of you moving through the world, the actual world all moves around you. So when you play Puppeteer, you play it for 5 minutes and then suddenly all the scenery will change and it will bring on new characters, new situations and change the gameplay slightly. So everything is always changing on you, so you always want to keep playing.
So, what's the premise behind Puppeteer?
Basically, as I said, it's a dark fairy tale, very Tim Burton, Terry Gilliam. It's got lots of dark moments, but lightened by a lot of humour. So basically, our hero is stolen away to the moon, and his soul is trapped in the body of a puppet. And he displeases this evil king that's done this, who rips his head off and eats it. And then he gets thrown away, and he finds that he's not dead. He should be, but with the help of a kind of sarcastic cat who belongs to a kind of grumpy witch who works in the kitchens, he finds that he can use different objects, different heads, to put on his shoulders, and each of these heads has a different power that he can use. And then the witch convinces him to go off to his death and steal this pair of magical scissors, but he's a lucky chap and he manages to succeed and steal these scissors, and that's when his terrible adventure begins, because this terrible king wants these scissors back. But without these scissors, he won't be able to defeat the king and get his head back.
So, the whole point is he wants to get his head back.
Right.
So, you mentioned to me earlier there are 100 different heads.
Right.
How did you sit there and come up with 100 different heads that do 100 different things?
Well, we made the game in grey box, and we knew exactly what the gameplay was going to be through that, in the length of the game and all the different gimmicks we were going to have in the game. And I'd written the story in English and Japanese at the same time, so we knew what the story was going to be behind that as well. And everything in Puppeteer has to have a meaning for it to be there. So every head would have to have a meaning, and actually if you find the heads, there's a whole collection thing, you can go and see them in the stage select screen, and every single one of them has a story, why they're there. It's either linked to the theatre in some peculiar manner, or it's linked to the actual world, the actual play that's going on in the theatre. So a lot of those, say 50 or 60 of those, came because we knew what 50 or 60 of them would be, and then 40 of them were, let's just go crazy and put strange things in there and then see how we can fit that into the game and make the game even crazier.
Well, I can honestly say, having just played it with you, it's definitely a crazy game. One of the really cool things I like about the game is the unique co-op experience. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's really cool. As I said, my son, we were playing games and he got up and left, which meant I was stuck in a 2-player game with no way of completing it. And so it was either save it or trash it, but there was no way to continue playing. But what happens in Puppeteer is that as a one player you can control the secondary character at the same time on the right stick. But at any time, anybody else can pick up another controller, whether it's another DualShock or a Move controller, and they automatically take control of the other character. And doing so, they get a lot more abilities than you would in one player. So basically, they can help you out, carry playing with you, and if they do, like my son, walk off outside to go and play with his friends, it doesn't stop your experience because it reverts straight back to one player again. You can carry on playing.
So what's probably been the one unique challenge in creating this game?
I think there have been many, many challenges. The one major unique challenge, I think obviously trying to get a game off the ground that's kind of crazy and unique like this is an incredible challenge in the first place. I think when we were making it, creating that theatrical experience to work inside a game, so, you know, restricting yourself in the size of the screen to the size of the theatre, but still having fulfilling, fun gameplay, that was an incredibly difficult challenge. Yeah.
It's got some pretty amazing music in the game. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, we were very lucky. When I was looking for a composer, I came across a guy called Patrick Doyle, who used to be the musical director for the Royal Shakespeare Company. But he's also written over 70 movies, from Carlito's Way to Harry Potter to, you know, Pixar movies. And we were lucky through Sony Music to be able to contact him, and we sat down, and because it's set in the theatre, Patrick was like, wow, this is something I've never done before, he'd never done a game before, he's really intrigued. And he wrote us 70 pieces of music. And that's the kind of key to our game, is that we always have variation. You're never going to see the same thing twice. And in the same way, apart from the main character themes in the music, which you will hear, we hope you won't hear the same piece of music again.
And the narrator is someone British and someone people of our age would recognise.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about that.
Okay, yeah, the narrator is Stephen Greif. He's an amazing guy, an amazing actor. He's done a lot of movies, even modern day movies up to now, but I think what you're talking about, which people kind of think is quite cool, is he was actually in Blake 7.
That's the original Blake 7, not the new
Blake
one
7.
that the Sci-Fi Channel are talking about bringing in.
Right.
Puppeteer was announced last year at Gamescom. What's the reaction been from people since the announcement?
It's interesting because we announced it at Gamescom, and I thought, you know, people would be, oh, it's just it's got to be a PSN title, or, you know, it's just another platformer. But we had a great reaction just after Gamescom, and since then we've had a great reaction from people. Like, all the feedback has been positive. And when we started to show off the game since E3, especially this year, people started to play it. And they, you know, the thing about Puppeteer is you hear it, it draws you towards it, you see it, it draws you a little bit further in, and then you pick up the controller, you start to play it, and then you realise how, you know, good it is and how good it feels to play. And that whole experience kind of surrounds you. So we've had some really, really good feedback.
And I can honestly say, having just played it, I couldn't agree with you more. So it's just a PlayStation 3 title. Any thoughts of a Vita version?
Well, I mean, obviously we were a small team in Japan, so we just stuck to our guns and did a PlayStation 3 title. I'm sure if people shouted hard enough, you know, and they really wanted the Vita version, but that's up to my management. That's not anything I have a say in. But I would say that I would like to do something different.
Okay.
So, I mean, there's the touch screens on the Vita. We could do something different with it. I wouldn't want to do a straight port.
Okay. And have you any thoughts or plans for additional content for Puppeteer once it's released?
I don't, and the reason for that is that I think that my personal attitude to this is that we should give you 100% when we give it to you in the box.
Yeah, that's fair. And when's it out?
It's out on September in the UK. I think it's between the 11th or 12th or 13th, so I'm not exactly sure, but it's out one of those days. So, and it's only $39.99. So no, it's cheaper than that because it's the UK, right? It's €39.99 euros, but I think it's cheaper than that because in pounds it translates cheaper than that. It's a huge game. It's over 12 hours in length. It's full of weird wackiness that I hope will surprise people, and, you know, please everybody go out there and grab it and really enjoy it.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.